You just took him outside. 15 minutes. You stood there in the yard waiting. He sniffed everything. He ran in circles. He found a leaf interesting. He did not pee. You came back inside, and before you even got your shoes off, he squatted in the middle of the living room and emptied his entire bladder on your floor. You stood there, paper towels in hand, for the 4th time today, wondering a very specific thing. What am I doing wrong? Because you're doing everything right. You're taking him out constantly. You're watching him. You're cleaning up every accident. You set an alarm at 3 a.m. last night. You read the articles. You followed the schedule. And he still pees everywhere. Here's what nobody prepares you for. It's not just the mess. It's the particular exhaustion of feeling like you're working this hard and getting nowhere. Like the effort isn't translating. Like there's a gap between what you're doing and what's supposed to be happening and you can't find it. If you've been feeling that way, it's not your imagination. There is a gap. And the reason you haven't found it is that nobody pointed you toward the right places to look. Because the mistakes that make puppy training backfire, including potty training, aren't careless ones. They're intuitive. They're what any reasonable, loving, exhausted person would do, and that's exactly why they're so hard to catch. Here are the 6 that show up most often, and if you've been struggling for longer than you expected, you're probably making more than one of them. Mistake 1. Your timing is off by just enough to teach the wrong thing. Your puppy finally sits. You reach for the treat, it's in your pocket, then it's in your hand, then you hold it out, and by the time he gets it, he's already stood up and taken 2 steps toward you. What did you reward? Not the sit. You rewarded him standing up and walking over. This sounds impossibly small. It doesn't feel small when you realize it's been happening in every single session for weeks. A puppy's brain makes associations in a window measured in seconds, not minutes, not moments. The reward has to arrive at the exact instant the behavior is correct, or the connection forms around the wrong thing. Every delayed treat is a small piece of miseducation. And those pieces add up. The fix isn't complicated, it's just precise. The treat needs to be in your hand before you ask for the behavior, not after. And the moment your puppy's body lands in the right position, the reward moves, not 2 seconds later. Not as you're saying, good boy. In that same breath, speed is the whole game at this stage. Mistake 2. You're repeating the command until it means nothing. Sit. See. Okay. Sit good. Here's what your puppy heard. Background noise, background noise, background noise. Treat. When you repeat a cue before the dog responds, you're not being patient. You're accidentally teaching your dog that the first time you say the word, nothing is required. The 4th or 5th time, maybe then something happens, so he waits, rationally. He's learned to wait. This is one of the quietest and most damaging patterns in puppy training, because it feels like patience. It feels like giving him another chance. It's not. It's compounding his confusion and burning out the word you're trying to teach. The adjustment. Say it once. Wait. If nothing happens, don't repeat instead. Help him into the position physically or use a treat to lure him, and then reward. The word only gets used once per attempt. After enough repetitions, the word carries weight. It means something is expected immediately. When your puppy starts responding on the first cue, you'll feel the shift. It's not subtle. Mistake 3. Your sessions are running too long. Here's a scene you might recognize. Training is going well, he's nailing it, he's engaged, he's happy. So you keep going. You figure you're in the zone, and he's in the zone, and you should make the most of it. And then something changes. He starts sniffing the floor. He looks away. He offers the wrong behavior, then offers it again, then just sort of wanders. You feel the session fall apart in real time, and you don't know why. What happened is that his brain hit capacity. A puppy's prefrontal cortex, the part that handles focus, self-control, and learning is in the early stages of development. It runs out of fuel fast, not because the puppy is distracted or uninterested, because the tank is genuinely empty. For young puppies, 5 minutes of real training is often the ceiling. Not 5 sessions of 5 minutes. 5 minutes, period. And that's enough if those 5 minutes are precise and well-timed. The owners who get the fastest results aren't the ones who train the longest. They're the ones who end on a win every single time before the puppy ever has the chance to fail. End early. End clean. Start fresh. Mistake 4. Everyone in the house is playing by different rules. You say off when he jumps on you. Your partner says down. Your kids don't say anything, they think it's cute, and they let him. To your puppy, these are 3 completely separate situations with 3 completely separate outcomes. He's not being difficult. He's solving a genuinely confusing puzzle with the information available. Dogs don't generalize language the way we do. They don't understand that off and down and silent tolerance are all pointing at the same expected behavior. What they understand is, when this specific person says this specific word in this specific context, this specific thing happens. When that's inconsistent, when rules change depending on who's in the room, the puppy doesn't split the difference and meet you in the middle. He defaults to whatever works most reliably, which is usually the version with the least resistance. The adjustment doesn't require a family meeting with a whiteboard. It requires a short list, 10 words. The commands you'll use, what behavior each one asks for, what the response should be when it happens. Everyone in the house uses that list. No exceptions. Consistency across people, not just across sessions, is what lets the behavior stabilize. Mistake 5. You're correcting him for things he can't connect to anymore. You come home. There's a mess on the floor. You know he did it, you can tell. You call him over. You show him the mess. You use your firm voice. He cowers. He looks guilty. Maybe he rolls over. And you think, he knows what he did. He doesn't. What's happening in that moment isn't guilt. It's a response to your emotional state right now. Your puppy is reading your body language, your tone, your energy, and responding to the threat of that. In this moment, he's not connecting any of it to something that happened an hour ago. A puppy's brain doesn't hold behavioral cause and effect across time the way ours does. The association only forms if the consequence arrives within a few seconds of the behavior. Anything beyond that, and the moment is gone. The learning window is closed. Punishing after the fact doesn't teach him not to repeat the behavior. It teaches him that your arrival home is sometimes dangerous. And that's the opposite of what you want. The only thing that works is catching it happening and responding then, which means, in most cases, the real adjustment isn't the correction at all. It's supervision and setup. Remove the opportunity. Control the environment. Make it nearly impossible for him to fail when you're not watching. You can't train a behavior you're not present for. Mistake 6. You waited. This one is harder to hear, not because it's the worst mistake, it isn't, but because you can't go back. Puppies have a window, a period in early development, usually closing somewhere between 12 and 16 weeks, where the brain is actively building its map of what is safe and what is threatening, what people look like, what sounds mean, what surfaces feel like underfoot, what other animals are. During that window, exposure is almost effortless. A puppy who meets 10 friendly strangers, hears traffic, walks on different floors, and encounters other dogs during that period, is building a foundation that will carry him through years of life with minimal fear. After that window narrows, it doesn't close completely, but the learning costs more. It takes longer. What would have been unremarkable at 9 weeks becomes a project at 6 months. Many owners wait until vaccinations are finished. It's the cautious thing to do. It's also, in some cases, waiting out the most critical learning period your puppy will ever have. You don't have to choose between safety and socialization. There are ways to socialize safely during that window. Carry them. Visit controlled environments. Bring the world to them. But don't wait until it's medically convenient if the window is closing. If you're reading this and your puppy is already past that stage, it's not too late. It's just more intentional work from here. And that work is absolutely worth doing. What changes when you fix these 6 things? Here's what this actually looks like on the other side. It's a Thursday evening. You're in the kitchen, starting dinner. He's on his mat. Not because you put him there and stood over him, because that's where calm dogs in this house tend to end up. He hears a sound outside. He lifts his head. He looks at you. You don't react. He puts his head back down. You didn't train that specific moment, but you trained everything that led to it. The timing, the consistency, the short sessions, the shared language, The early exposure, the pattern of responding to the present and not punishing the past. It's not a well-trained dog. It's a dog who trusts the structure of his world enough to relax inside of it. That's what you were actually trying to build from the very beginning. Before you go, if someone you know just brought home a puppy or is about to send them this video, not because they're doing it wrong, but because 6 weeks of avoidable confusion is 6 weeks of frustration neither of them need. And the things we covered today are the ones most people figure out only after the damage is already done. You didn't need that, and neither do they. See you next time.